Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Hope people didn't forget about the time change and miss me. Uh, so how you doing? As normal, I'm having some serious gourmet shit in my coffee. I made the two parts Tim Hortons, one part Cafe Bustelo. I called it the American neighbors drink. A little bit of Mexico, a little bit of Canada. That's good enough for this United Statesian. Uh, how's everybody today? We got a couple people in the chat already. We got Haldir. How you doing, Haldir? We got What Geeks Do Network. Thank you, and he's the one that made the opening music thing. How you doing? Thank you. We got Marcus. Hey, Marcus. How you doing? What Geeks? Oh, I already hit that. Hit a Turo ad today. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Hail you all. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Look good, sound good? Sorry about the glare, but this, I had to dig out Origins of Marvel Comics by Stan Lee. A little bit of story about this. This is, as you can see, Simon and Schuster. It's kind of sad that Stan was always a little embarrassed by comic books. He said that he would go to parties and everybody would be like, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a whatever, I'm a this, I'm a that. And he would be like, yeah, I make comic books. And he said he was always a little bit embarrassed by that. I don't know so much by the end of his life, but at this point in the 70s, he was a little embarrassed. As much as he, talks about comic books, there was always a little bit of embarrassment. As I take a sip. And he made this deal to get these comics published by Simon and Schuster, and it was a very big deal to him. He got these nice hardcovers, came out in bookstores. Again, Stan always wanted to elevate the medium of comics. There was a few people that I really credit with elevating the medium of comics. Stan Lee being one of them. Will Eisner, Neil Adams, Art Spiegelman. These are people that just made comic books more respectable. So let's go with that. So this is just some of the earlier hard to find key issues. So I will break this out because this has the first appearance of a Silver Surfer over here. But I'll take out my comic when I do that. And then this is what we're all here for today. The first appearance of the Hulk. I'm just gonna remove my banner so I could we could see. How do I do that? Okay, cool. There we go. I'm the only one here. Okay, so there we go. This is the cover to the Incredible Hulk #1. Now, the only thing that I regret, well, I don't have it, so I regret having that, but I never had an opportunity to get Hulk #1, so it's not like I could regret it. But the color is a little different because when they reprint these colors on different paper, I know it's always a little brighter. It looks pretty good on the screen, but here in person, looking at the book, it looks a little brighter. I guess the I don't know, the image of it transferred to the camera tones it down a little bit, but this just looks a little like, I don't know, like it needs to be toned down to be a comic. Okay, so what do we got here? Hulk. What? Hulk is wearing a shirt? Yeah. From the beginning, Marvel reprinted the earlier hard. Yes, that's one of the things Marvel did. Was there were a lot of reprint titles. There was World's Greatest Comics, which was a reprinted the Fantastic Four. There was Marvel Tales, which reprinted Spider-Man. Those Marvel Collector's Item Classics, which reprinted just everything. That was like a giant size comic. So it would reprint like 2 or 3 different comics in one comic. and those Marvel Collector's Item Classics, those became something to collect too, because I don't know, they had like some original artwork in them, and that always bothered me because I didn't like the reprint titles as a kid, but they did have like original covers, so they made it so tempting. And then if you lived in England, they would have a reprinted comics for England with totally new art. I think like the covers would be local British artists, and you know, the British comics and science fiction and American comics and science fiction, there's something different about it. It's like British sensibilities. But anyway, let's get to Incredible Hulk. You know, Marvel Comics, number one, the strangest man of all time. Fantasy as you like. And first thing you're gonna notice is, well, he has a shirt, but he's also gray. Now, Marcus, maybe you know why more than me. Was the Hulk supposed to be gray? Or was the Hulk supposed to be green at the beginning? Because one of them was a mistake, and I forget which one was the mistake. Was the green a mistake, or was the gray a mistake? But you know, they've since incorporated the gray Hulk and the green Hulk and Joe Fixit and whatever brilliantly by saying that Banner has some sort of like mental issues like bipolar or schizophrenia or what do they call it now, multiple personality disorder, so and depending upon his state of mind when he transforms, creates the version of the Hulk, which I do think is kind of interesting. At the very least, it's a good way to explain the inconsistencies of the Hulk. And for those of you who have never seen the first appearance of the Hulk, you'll see what I'm talking about. Before we go in, I will address the that is why I have such appreciation of Kirby Ditko. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because you could get to see the early work. Dale A, happy daylight savings time. Yes, good to see you. Thank you for showing up. Glad to grab your coffee, everybody. Let's have let's all have a sip in solidarity. It was supposed to be great, but the printing tech at the time made it look really muddy and hard to see. Okay, so what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Excuse me. I'm just drinking the coffee. I stayed up way too late. I've been doing really good. I'm still off work. I've been doing really good going to bed early, but the last 4 days I've been staying up till like 4 a.m. reading comics. So and then I had to get up early, and then the daylight savings time. So the Hulk was supposed to be gray, but the printing made it muddy, so they changed it to green. Okay, I'll buy that for $1. All right, so let's open up. Well, look, he's green right there. Half man, half monster. The mighty Hulk thunders out at the night. Okay. Stan Lee. So here we got very phallic looking bomb. And I always liked, because I lived in I lived in Albuquerque for a couple of years, so I always liked that the Hulk is like the only like New Mexico based superhero for like a long time. So here we got, opening shot again. You're gonna notice a lot of dialogue. These early Marvels, a lot of panels, a lot of dialogue, and I think that's great. It's a lot of story, no decompressing storytelling here. And what do I mean by that? I was just talking to my wife about it last night. Believe it or not, we actually had a comic book conversation about how modern Marvel and modern DC, they don't have runs anymore. Like, meaning like you don't have a writer artist on a comic book for a long time. Although it seems like they're starting to reverse that now, but for like 20 years, it was like kind of like, except for Brian Michael Bendis, you didn't seem to stay on a comic book too long. So these writers, they would take a short story and just fill it with padding so that their story would fit into a trade paperback, so that they could get, royalties later on. Comics are a year or so later, 2 years later, they'll take 6 issues, put it in one printing, one bound printing. That's called the trade paperback, and then sell that. And then the royalties on that, you'll make money. So they would take a shorter story, expand it. They called it decompressing. And it was just annoying. Now, Marvel, Stan and Jack did the opposite. They took a lot of story and squished it all into one comic. You look at that Fantastic Four comic, the first appearance of the Fantastic Four. There was a lot in that particular issue. Look at that Doctor Strange, that Steve Ditko, Stan Lee. Remember, that was only 1 out of 3 stories in the comic. And look how much information, look how much detail, look how much storytelling was in that comic. And Thor, that was 1 out of 3 stories in a comic book. A regular sized comic book, only there were 3 stories, and that origin of Thor, that was a lot of information. That was a lot of detail. And I forgot I even showed the X-Men and Avengers. Just look how much happened in one issue. We could go back to everything. Now, so I will address the storytelling. Let's look at the comments. Okay, so where am I? The gray makes him look like Frankenstein's monster. Yes, yes. And remember, at this point, uh, they don't have the year. Marcus, what year did this come out? Do you know the date? But remember, this was Marvel Comics hedging their bets of are superheroes popular again? Are monsters popular again? So this is Stan and Jack hedging their bets, splitting the difference, and making a superhero monster character. No time change in Arizona. No time change. I'm starting at, this has nothing to do with comic books, but Pete brought it up. I'm starting to realize that we don't need daylight savings time. We're not like a group of farmers anymore. Can't we just do away with it? Just to have set the clock set at one time or whatever. Every time Marvel reprint, the Hulk was green for years. Every time Marvel reprinted, the Hulk was green for years. So what? They actually changed the gray in the reprints to make it green. Hey, good morning, Allison. How you doing? Good to see you here. Get some Hulk education. They didn't stay on the series long because Marvel DC didn't want the artists. Yes, yes. Marcus is right. When I was talking about how like writers and artists didn't stay, there wasn't really runs. That wasn't the writers and artists' fault. That was a little deep dive. When Image Comics formed, they took all of the talent from Marvel, all the top tier talent, and Marvel kind of collapsed. So Marvel did a stupid thing. They didn't want to make any more superstars. So they purposely didn't give writers and artists long runs to make them, and it didn't work, if you ask me. Long runs gave the reader up like a promise of things to come. Like you got to do like subplots and have the subplots build up tension and all the good storytelling. All it did was really like make like a jarring sense of a inconsistency through the series, and it showed. I get off my lawn. I'm an old man, but I really do feel bad for like kids who got into comics in the past 20 years. You get in the the worst of it. There's no other way to say it. Man, Betty is really graceful trying to smooth things over. Yes, they always change the gray to make it green. Oh, I didn't realize that in the reprints. You see, that's another thing I don't like. Reprinted exactly the way it came out. So this came out in May 1962. Thank you, Marcus. I knew you would know. So this came out after the Fantastic Four, and before the Avengers, obviously, because Hulk was in the Avengers. So yes, so this is like before Marvel really exploded. So this is again Marvel, Stan, they're businessmen. Many times in interviews, Jack Kirby was asked what his job is, and Jack Kirby would say, "My job is to sell comics." He never said, well, he did say, but he was fully aware that his job was to sell comics. Drawing comics is all fine and good, but if nobody buys them, he's out of work. So let's get to the story. So we're set in the desert of New Mexico, although they don't say New Mexico, they just say the desert. We got this base over here. We got Banner smoking a pipe. I just love how like scientists back in the 60s, they were like cool. Like Reed Richards was cool. He was a man's man. back in the 60s, the way they portrayed something. Now he's sinister and creepy and nerdy. Scientists are all like autistic Sheldons from the Big Bang Theory, but back then scientists were cool, respected. And now here's his Igor, his assistant. And look at the coloring. Okay. Again, I bring this up all the time. And this is something I pointed out in Cyberfrog. As the backgrounds all kind of smushed together. That was my biggest critique of Cyberfrog, which I did enjoy. I did a video of it last week. But look at the backgrounds. The majority color is different in every panel. And why? That makes every panel unique, easy to separate. It lessens the confusion in your mind. So again, notice that. Here we got, look at Thunderbolt Ross just popping out red just in the background. This guy's orange. And why? Because this is the main focus. And you could just see, you could just draw a line of importance to non-importance, And we got Thunderbolt Ross just yelling and screaming, what's up? We got to get this bomb done, blah, 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 blah. And then, like you said, Betty, this is Betty Ross. This is Thunderbolt Ross's daughter. And of course, this is the love triangle. He's not a rival for her affection. He's the blocker for her affection. Perfect illustration right here. She loves him. He's in the way, And then look at this. Everybody's just red over here. Marcus, who's the colorist? Who's the colorist? I wasn't smart enough. If Marcus, if you could find all the credits, I wasn't smart enough to plan ahead to think of all the credits, because we all know it's Stan Lee writing it, Jack Kirby drawing it. But who are the rest? Is there an inker? Is there a colorer? Let me move my coffee out of the way. So now we got this. Look at her, Jackie Onassis. Banner, pretty tall over here, is Igor. So I'm not even reading this. Everybody, say something in the chat if you are confused by what is going on in this comic. I think so far, one page, but so far, excellent storytelling. We know what's going on. Banner wants to launch. Banner designed the bomb. He's the perfectionist scientist. Igor is the creepy assistant. Banner is the hotshot Thunderbolt Ross. Let's get this test going out. And Banner is I love this. You fool, nobody has checked your work. If you make it, you might blow up half the continent. I don't make errors. Banner, the countdown has begun. You'll talk later, and then he's one last check. And here we got this. Look at this. Damn teenager in his hot rod out joyriding. He's like, we got to delay the countdown. Sure. And here's Igor. What a stroke of luck. All I have to do is keep my finger off the hold button and I'll be the end of Banner. And here we got, Banner drives out there, and who it is? This is Rick Jones. First appearance of Rick Jones. Rick Jones has been notably absent from the MCU. I'm kind of curious if they ever will bring in Rick Jones, but Rick Jones is the Forrest Gump of Marvel Comics. He was in the first appearance of the Avengers #1. He got the Avengers to form, and over here he is creating the Hulk. So he's just like, cool it, man. The kids bet me I wouldn't have the nerve to sneak past the guards. What are you doing? What do you make me chicken? There's a bomb going off, and then here he is. Igor hits the button, and boom. I love Rick Jones just goes into this ditch, and I love this panel sequence now. The next panel, look at that. And then he's just exploded, and I love this panel. Oh my God. I've been telling myself, and I kind of forgot about it until I saw this panel now, but I took a picture of this panel, and I have it saved on my computer, and I've always wanted to get one of those devices where you could scan an image and blow it up and put it on a canvas. And for a while, I was thinking, when I finally get a garage, I wanted to make like pop art and, make some famous comic book images and paint them onto canvases. And this has always been the first one I wanted to do. It's funny because in my memory, this was green. Now I wonder if this reprint is changing the color, but you know, memory is a funny thing. And look, I always love this. And he's still screaming hours later. So hours later, he's screaming. I don't know. That always stuck with me. Oh man, like just he's get hits with and he screams, and he's still screaming. And here he is in the doctor. You absorb the full impact of the gamma rays, and Rick is just like, "You saved my life." At least I could do is bring you here. Oh my God, I love that. Let's address the. So we got. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce your name, Havroji. Great first issue. I agree. I love the monochromatic coloring in old covers. They rarely do it anymore. Yeah. Remember this. Excuse me. Sorry about that. That snuck up on me. Remember, they had a limited coloring palette and limited printing abilities, and that's why we call this 4-color comics. I mean, look. I mean, we all know that it is more than 4 colors, but for the most part, we call it 4-color comics. And that was a description for the comic book, and like the coloring process at the time. But it also became like a name for oldest, an old type of comics for like those. It's a descriptor for like a old wistful time. Old 4-color comics is kind of like a code for like, oh, when comics were the good guys were good, the bad guys were bad, and the women were women and the men were men, and the sheep were sheep and the dogs were dogs. But you know what I mean? Like, so because of the printing process, it became like a term for old fashioned, wholesome, old school comics, which is what man, now that I'm thinking about that, should have been the name for my comic book company, for my comic, 4-color comics. But oh well. Okay, Stan Goldberg is the colorist and Paul Ryman is the inker. Thank you. And then we got Roji saying the same thing. Paul Ryman. I don't know much about Paul Ryman. There's a lot of these guys who kind of came and went, and I don't know much about it, and I feel bad. Paul Ryman should be given more credit for being one of the guys who helped create the look of the Hulk. Pete Rock agrees that is a great panel. Yeah, to me, it's like this panel is up there with that panel of Galactus's hand opening up in the Silver Surfer. Goldberg was known for using his one color or a knockout color, which right over here is what we're talking about, or over here, one color at a time. Is it lazy? Maybe, but it also shows you what's important, what's not important, what to focus on. I think they're really good. And again, every panel has its own majority color, which makes each panel unique. If you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, check out my Cyberfrog video. Again, that was my only critique of that comic, is the coloring. It makes sense to have all the backgrounds the same color when you're in the same area, but you'll see why they did what they did in making the panels different. So here he is. He's in the bunk. We got the moon going up over here. Now, I'm starting to realize, I guess Banner changed his shirt, because over here it's white, over here it's orange, or orange over here, but over here it's red, and then over here it's orange again. That's Stan Goldberg, And I love this. He just happens to have a Geiger counter over here, so it's dark. Hulk's taking off his glass, or Banner's taking off his glasses, freaking out. Click, 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 and then you're right. Okay, now in this reprint, he's green. He should be gray right here. I guess it's been years since I opened up this book, but Hulk is supposed to be gray right here. In this first issue, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the first 2 issues that he's gray, or is it just the first issue? Marcus, do you remember? Do you know, is he gray for the first issue or 2 issues? So Out of my way, insect. Why am I here? Boom. I love this. So again, I love the Kirby pronounced brow. He looks like Simeon. Again, like I said, the Stan Goldberg knockout color. And I love this panel. The guy's just flying. Now, I said over 1,000,000 times, you could argue with Jack Kirby's anatomy. You could argue with his style, but you cannot argue with the action. Look at this impact. Look at this impact. Come on, look, it almost leaps off the page. It just moves. And when I talk about like storytelling, right over here, there is, I don't care who you are, he's just it's just flawless animation is the only way to describe it. I have to go. I have to get away to hide. Wait for me. You saved my life. So Hulk is just, you can already hear the banner music from the TV show. Dun, dun, dun. That sad piano music when what's his name was walking away. Yeah, this drives me crazy now because he's supposed to be gray. These are all gray, and they color corrected it. This is one of the reasons why I like the original comics so much more. This is, because they reference it at this point in Marvel history. This was 1978. What year was this book? 1974. But in 1974, there was only one version of the Hulk. There was no Mr. Fix-It. There was no whatever Hulk, whatever. So it was. So they just retroactively fixed the past to correct. But then what? In the 80s, they started referencing the Gray Hulk, and then they referenced the Smart Hulk, the Dumb Hulk, whatever Maestro version of the Hulk. So this just shows you, comics, the mistakes could be capitalized on and advance the plot. So this is this drives me crazy. But I don't have another version of the Hulk. Let's address the comments before I continue. Where is it? Ryman inked X-Men #1 and wasn't well known as one of Kirby's better inkers. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a reason why I don't know his name, as mean as that sounds. Rick Jones, as of now, Rick Jones is unaffected by the gamma rays. Yes, because he jumped into that ditch. The ditch saved him. Remember, it was an experimental bomb and whatever. Also, keep in mind, they did turn Rick Jones into a Hulk, which, let me take a sip of coffee. I forget if it was the late 90s or early 2000s. Rick Jones became a Hulk. He was like blue, and they called him A-Bomb. And then Thunderbolt Ross became a Hulk. He was the Red Hulk. And then there was obviously She-Hulk. And then there was the Savage She-Hulk, which was a red girl. Betty Ross became a Hulk. She was the Savage She-Hulk. That's just one of those things that, given one superhero, they always create a whole bunch. And I don't. That dilutes the uniqueness, the speciality of the one character. The exception I always make is if, I'll take the superhero version and then I'll take the female version or the male version. So if there's Superman, I'll accept Supergirl. If there's Batman, I'll accept Batgirl, and vice versa. But a Hulk and a She-Hulk, that's it. Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, that's it. Once you step more than that, to me, it just dilutes the idea. Now that everybody has a spider sauna, do you actually care? When everybody's Spider-Man, nobody's Spider-Man. Thanks, Marcus. I knew you would know. The Hulk was turned green by the second issue. Sark 10, Hulk is speaking in full sentences when he's mad? Yes. Thank you for saying that. You brought up something that I wanted to say and then forgot. This Hulk, the first appearance of the Hulk, he transformed when it turned. He wasn't angry. Let's go back. Okay, he's confused. He's worried. The key is it's night. and he's just like, what's going on? And he turns into the Hulk. Out of my way, insect. I love this panel. And out of my way. Why am I here? Why am I locked in here? Men, more little men. So right over here, he is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's still smart. But he's kind of like sinister is the only way to describe it. The Hulk, in case you didn't know, this series of the Hulk lasted 6 issues. Hulk was then canceled, and then it was brought back in Tales to Astonish, and it shared a title with Iron Man, and then later I forget. There was Tales of Suspense, Tales to Astonish, and Strange Tales. Strange Tales was the Human Torch and Doctor Strange. Later became the Doctor Strange and Nick Fury. Tales to Astonish, I think, was the Hulk and the Submariner. And Tales of Suspense, I think, was Iron Man and Captain America. That's when the Hulk kind of got defined as the angry Hulk that we all, Banner would get angry, turn into the Hulk. But right now, they didn't know what to do with the Hulk. They didn't know what to do with the Fantastic Four. They had vastly different personalities in the first couple of issues, and the Hulk more so than any other character, they didn't know what to do. So yes, he's speaking in full sentences. The trigger was daylight, and it's almost like a different character. He was gray, and then they changed it to green. So I love this fan out, man. We got to find that Hulk, and there it is, the name of the Hulk. Bashing through the wall. Everyone's like, "What's going on?" And they can't agree that it's. I mean, they don't even assume it's Banner. Why would they? I love this panel. Just look at this. Look at this face right here. We have to reach inside. We have to reach home. We have to reach home. Formula inside home. Must get formula. Got to keep moving. He's just lumbering about. The third cabin. That is where I must go. So he doesn't talk in that familiar broken patois that Hulk has. And then you're going to see another great panel. So here he is. They go into Banner's home, and what do? They find Igor. An intruder. Well, you not live to report. Boom. What? Who? I put a 38 slug into your shoulder, and still you advance. You didn't even feel the shot. I love that. And it is totally Frankenstein. At this point, this is totally Frankenstein. It's a mix between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Frankenstein. No bones about it. I love the purple. Notice he's got blue pants. No, stay back. And he just, bah. So this is what puny humans fear. And he just crushes the gun. And now it's impossible. You aren't human. Human? Why should I want to be human? I love that panel. I just love that panel. And then, look, you'll kill him. Down, I'll put him down. Top secret report on gamma ray bomb. That's the formula that Ben Grimm, Bruce Banner. Why is that name stick in my head? That face, I know that face. And he's like, what are you talking about? That's Bruce Banner. That's you before you changed. Now, nobody. Not the reader, not Rick Jones, not the Hulk, not Bruce Banner. As far as they're concerned, this is a permanent transformation at this point. This never happened before. Nobody knows what the rules are. So there you go. So yes, the Hulk was speaking in full sentences. He wasn't a dumb brute at this time. He was, he got stupider. That was one of the changes that occurred. Ministry of Truth shenanigans. Yeah, if you're talking about the color corrections, yes. By the way, since 1984 and all the reprints, the Hulk comic has always been gray. Yes. Yeah. They fixed it. And then it became a part of continuity, so they had to address it. I'm glad they didn't go with Batboy. Yeah. Wonder Woman, Wonder Man. Yeah, that's kind of a joke. I agree. I like the single character. I had no idea that there were multiple Hulks. Glad I didn't know. Gotta love my ignorance. Yeah, it's confusing. And also at the time, it evolves. This is 1962. So let's round it to 1960. So we had 80 years of this character. Over 80 years, what's the quote from Tolkien? it becomes like too little butter spread over too much bread, so they got to stretch it for ideas. Very rarely they come up with new ideas, you know to keep the characters fresh. And that's why every couple of years they do it. They change the character drastically. They had Ben Riley become Spider-Man for a while, then Dr. Octopus becomes Spider-Man for a while, then they have, Elektra becomes Daredevil, and there was a while when the Black Panther became Daredevil. When Daredevil was injured, it's gonna happen. And I don't believe there's bad ideas, there's bad executions. There's better ideas, but I'm trying to think of a legit just bad character. Anybody? We got 18 people in the chat. Is there any character that you just think is bad? There's it never been done right, can't be done right, impossible to be done right. See, I don't believe that. There could be better characters, but I don't know that every character could be done, but I just don't like multiple iterations of the same character. I don't like multiverse. It just dilutes it, and it's something that like people that aren't into comic books would do. That's the only way to describe it. You ever get those friends that just play with you and they just don't get it, and I would be playing with my action figures, and Scott would come over, a kid in my neighborhood, and he would just play, and I just remember looking at him like, dude, you don't get it. You don't get it. I remember my friend Jeff, we were playing, and I had a toy, and he was just like, okay, so the Thing has a hat, and he goes outside, and somebody steals his hat, and then the Thing is just going nuts, and he starts knocking down the building looking for us. And I'm just like, do you know who Ben Grimm is? Do you know who the Thing is? Like, would he just knock down building? He's not a monster. You just don't get it, so some people just don't get it. And the people who don't get it, the first thing they do is, there's a whole Spider-Man family, and this is gonna sound mean, and Allison, forgive me, but that's such a girl thing. That's such a female thing, to make a family of characters, and it's not a male thing to make a family of characters. Ditko created changing when Banner gets it. Yes. I was going to address that, and I might follow this up with my favorite Hulk issue of all time, which is Hulk 6 with the Metal Master. That is just my favorite Hulk issue of all time. 6 issues then canceled. How long before they brought him back? Yes, 6 full issues of the Hulk title. It didn't do too well, and then they brought him back almost immediately in the Tales of Suspense with Iron Man and the Hulk, back when Marvel had that limited distribution deal, so they had to split the comics. Shadowpunk. There were multiple Hulks I turned in too late. Not in the beginning. I'm just going to put this here as a bookmark, because now that I know Shadowpunk's here, I want to show something. Shadowpunk sent me a comic in the mail, and I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't. I read this last night. This was excellent. Shadowpunk made this comic. He sent this to me in the mail. This was excellent. It's in the bag, so it's got it. Excellent. I really, really liked it. Really liked it. And if it's okay with you, I would like to do a showcase on that comic, Shadowpunk. So, I was going to message you, but since you're here, since whenever I know the person that I want to do a comic showcase on, I always like to get permission. So, and I will not show the entire comic, just a couple of pages, because there you go. Okay, Zachtan, what does he say? Part of me definitely wants Peter Parker to have a family, be happy. They still film. When I say a family, I don't mean like a wife, kid, child. What I'm talking about, like the Spider-Man, like the Batman family, like this Batwoman, Bat Kid, Superboy, Super Dog, like now that there's Spider-Man, there's Miles Morales, there's Spider-Woman, there's Spider-Girl, there's Spider-Punk, there's Spider, non-gender descript wheelchair bound person, there's non-gender they them. That's what I mean, like this, the family of comic books, like DC capitalized on the idea of like the Bat family, the super family of all these beings who may or may not be actually related, but they have the similar motif. They're all like red cape superpowers. I don't know. That to me kind of ruins the uniqueness. And that was a DC thing for the longest time. Now it's just a comic book thing because we have comic book tourists who just don't get it. They just don't get it. Shadowpunk, thanks for showing. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for sending it to me. I always feel bad, and my wife teases me whenever I get free comics. She's like, "Oh, you're a celebrity. You're getting gifts from these people." So, you know, you didn't have to send it to me, but I appreciate it, and I really did like it. Plenty of dads have dangerous jobs. Yes. Where did I say something? Oh, okay. I skipped over. Part of me definitely wants Peter Parker to have a family, be happy. There's still plenty of struggling in family life. And then he says, plenty of dads have dangerous jobs. Yes, yes. So I think maybe you misunderstood what I said, or I didn't explain myself very well. When I'm talking about, I got no problems with Peter Parker marrying Mary Jane and having a child, and and Aunt May living with them. That's completely different. Reed Richards and Sue having a baby. What I'm talking about is, again, like, now this Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, the Spider Kid, the Spider Cousin, the Spider Uncle. To me, the only time it worked was Captain Marvel and the Marvel family, because that was supposed to be like at a whole different level of, like, a whole level of childlike innocence. To be more Marvel style is to be more adult. To me, it's, and to be more realistic. It to me, it doesn't work. The Hulk came back in Tales to Astonish number 60 in 1962. Yes. And these were bi-monthly. So the 6 issues spent a full year. So if this was 63, it spent a full year. So I'm going to say there wasn't much of a gap between issue 6, which was the final issue of the Hulk series, and then Tales to Astonish 60. But like The Incredibles, a super family, no offense, my creativity is not that advanced. Never would have thought about the creation of a family. Yes, that's also, maybe I'm not explaining it, but when in DC and Marvel, they actually had a comic called the Super Family, and the Bat Family, and what it was the group of all the characters with the same theme, the same motif, the same, so it was all the Bat characters. So Batman, there was Batman. Believe it or not, there was a Batwoman back then, and then a bat girl, and then there was Bat Dog, there was Bat Cat, all these, and that was called the Bat Family. They weren't necessarily related, although Batwoman, the original Kathy Kane, was his cousin. But they it was all characters with a similar motif, running around doing stuff, getting into trouble and whatever. Then they had the Superman family, Superman, Supergirl. Then they would do Superboy stories, which was unique in that was Clark Kent as a kid, and they had a super dog, super horse, super cat, and they would all tell story. Marvel always shied away from that stuff because Marvel always, Marvel kind of was a reaction to DC. And then later on, DC reacted to Marvel. The circle is now complete. So, and that's what they called it. Like a family was a group of characters with a similar motif, not like a family unit, not like the nuclear family like we have here. But the Incredibles, which I thought was brilliant, was playing on that idea and made the family of heroes an actual family. And it was also a reaction to the Fantastic Four. The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie ever made, if you ask me. Shadowpunk, oh my god, yes! If you did a review of my comic, I'd be blown away. Again, I don't really consider what I do reviews. It's funny. The closest you get to a review of me when I do comics is when I do a what you're reading. When I just go through like all the comics that I've been reading, but when I do a single, I call it a showcase because it's understood if I'm showcasing a comic, I like it, so I don't, for the most part, I don't showcase comics that I don't like unless there's a particular reason why I'm showcasing it, to illustrate a point. I don't know. I know it's a silly distinction. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, super family with the same motif could be weird. Fantastic Four is similar energy, but yes, the Fantastic Four is a family, but they don't all have the same motif. Yes. So I hope I'm explaining myself well. Hail Marcus. Yep. Okay, so let's turn the page. So he hates Banner, which I think is brilliant. From first appearance, Hulk hates Banner. Why? It's self-loathing. It is self-loathing. It is, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I do love that. I do love the concept of the self-loathing is part of the intrinsic nature of the Hulk. So here he's look at the pronounced brow over here, and look, he just manhandles Rick Jones, and then he's like, he goes, I remember now. He goes, it wouldn't have happened. You saved me. I'm staying with you. So Rick Jones has survivor's guilt. He has a little bit of that like responsibility. He goes, fool, I'm glad it happened. I'd rather be me than that puny weakling in that picture. I don't want you with me. I don't need you with me. I don't need anybody. With my strength, my power, the world is mine. So what do we have here? We have a villain. Hulk is a villain. Hulk is a full-on villain in issue number 1. He's a monster in issue number 1. This is brilliant. This is brilliant storytelling by Stan and Jack. They have this creature that could go any way at this particular moment. And why didn't he? Because of Rick Jones. Rick Jones is saving the world right over here. And you're the only one who knows who I am. What do you mean? What's happening over here? Hulk is full on planning to murder Rick Jones. This is scary Hulk. This is mean Hulk. This is terrifying Hulk. And my head, my brain's on fire. I'm changing. He's back. Oh my God, it's over. Because you're Banner again. So there we go. I was going to comment on the colors. He's wearing orange and blue, but I don't trust it now that I know that this was recolored. So I don't know. And then boom, MPs come in. What's going on, Dr. Banner? He goes, where's the Hulk? The Hulk. They mean you. It's empty. There's no Hulk here. This is Igor. We've been searching for him. Let's arrest him. He must be in league with the Hulk. What does Zach 10 say? Yes, this Hulk is scary. Yes. Again, this is Stan and Jack don't know which way the wind is going to blow. They don't know if monsters are going to, because remember, they were making monster comics before Fantastic Four #1. So they don't know, is this superhero thing going to blow over? Is monster still? So they're walking this razor's edge and seeing which way the wind is going to blow. Stan and Jack were outstanding. Remember Jack, for years was known for romance comics. Today, when I say Jack Kirby to you guys, is any one of them going to go, oh yeah, that's the guy who did romance comics, So I love this, He goes, how'd you get that wound? So remember, he was shot. He goes, how do you think? It was the Hulk. He goes, Captain, we got a good look at the Hulk. So now these are all unreliable witnesses over here. It was a gorilla. It was a bear, must have escaped from the zoo. It had rags on him. He goes, and then Rick Jones, I think you're all jokers out here, because I'm fortunate that you didn't get the formula for the bomb. Now, when I said Hulk was a villain, what was his first instinct? To go get the formula for the bomb. Why? Because deep down, Banner knew that formula had to be protected. So this is how to make the gamma bomb. Hulk went in to go get it. Why? He didn't know why. He just knew it was something that was stuck in his subconsciousness. So, so they're establishing that there are some core memories of Banner that direct the Hulk, but at the same time, like, Banner is pure super ego, and which one is it? Ego, super ego, and id, and it's a trio. It's Banner, Rick Jones, and the Hulk. The Hulk is the id, the reptilian monstrous part. Banner now is the I forget which one is the conscience, but that's Rick Jones. Rick Jones is the super ego and ego. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of them is the day-to-day operations, and one of them is the conscience. But that is what Banner. I mean, that's what Banner, Rick Jones, and the Hulk are: id, super ego, and ego. And that's on purpose. That this was by design. And now Banner, talking to Betsy. Betsy's being all motherly. You're ill. You need medical care. Just yesterday he was exposed to bombs. forgive me, he's crying in front of the woman. She still likes him, and Thunderbolt Ross. And this is the other rival. This is Major Talbot. Major Talbot is the young protege that Thunderbolt Ross thinks is good enough for his daughter. So he's the rival. Just it's all there in the first issue. Rick Jones is taking care of him. Yeah. Oh, it's Betty. How revolting. This is just typical. I guess that means Rick Jones is gay. You know what I mean? This is how they work. Back then, like, he's supposed to be like a young teenager and, whatever. Is he really revolted by girls? No. If you know anything about Rick Jones, he becomes like a hound later on, chasing all the women. But in 1962, because Stan and Jack were goofing on TV movie perceptions of teenagers, this is James Dean. Make no bones about it. Rick Jones is inspired by James Dean, and if you saw Rebel Without a Cause, he was kind of like, not like repulsed by women, but like too caught up in his own ego. So they're just doing this cool guy James Dean stuff. It just shows you that what they do to Bobby Drake, because he's just like a girl. What they were doing was the prototypical rebellious teenager who was James Dean at the time, and turning him into a comic book. He even looks like him. So here he is, he's walking around, in his house, and he goes, don't you understand? When it gets dark. So as he's talking about his fear, he goes, and when do we know that if the sun sets, I won't change? How do I know if I won't keep changing? It's that brutal, bestial mockery of a human, that creature which fears nothing, which despises reason and worships power. Soon the sun will set again, and I will sit helplessly fearing that I will become the Hulk. It's very dark. It's very, very dark. And now we have chapter 4. Let's address the comments. Still blown away by Jack's artwork. Absolutely. Absolutely, Shadowpunk. And who was the artist in comic? Are you the artist? Because that art was very unique. Very unique. I would appreciate a showcase of why you don't like a comic. Perhaps not so much about the story, but okay, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, I did. I showcased Justice League #1. That's a comic that I do not like. I don't like Justice League #1, but I still did a showcase on it, and I thought that it was important because of the key issue that it was. But let me think of like a comic book from the 80s or so that I just don't like. Maybe because Banner felt guilty for making the bomb. Yeah, yes. That is part of it. Banner is consumed by guilt, and later on they brilliantly made it so that he suffered from mental illness and child abuse. Kind of a fascinating character. Super ego is conscious, ego is day to day. Okay, so Rick Jones is acting as the super ego. Banner is the guy dealing with all the problems day to day, and Hulk is the id. Rick Jones, too cool for romance. Yes, I did everything on my book. Oh, cool. I love when one person does everything. I love it. The storytelling is so cool so early. Yes. Nobody is confused. There is no confusion in this comic. No dissonance. Anybody watch The Witcher? Man, do I hate that show. I hate The Witcher for so many reasons, but I watched the first season. I was super confused. It's all disjointed. The storytelling is awful. And then I watched the first seasons. I hated it. And then 2 nights ago, I don't know why. I was just like, my eyes hurt. I don't want to read comics anymore. So I sat down on my chair and I turned on the TV, and I didn't know what to watch. So I said, and I watched the first 2 episodes of season 2 of The Witcher, and I hated it. And my wife came down at the second episode, and she's like, I thought you hated this. I said, yeah, I'm just giving it a second. And I was like, I don't know who these characters are. I don't know. It's almost as if each scene is a disconnect from the scene before. Like, if each scene is a panel, there's almost like no continuity. There's no flow. It's like Image Comics. This is brilliant. I don't know why I'm talking about The Witcher right now, but I just thought it. But there's no confusion. The Witcher just caused dissonance and a disconnect in my brain. These Marvel comics, no. these are flawless, So here we got Igor over here, and I always love this. He's got this supercomputer on his thumbnail, and he's sending out a message to those dirty, dirty commies. Comrade, I'm receiving a code message from Igor. We must give it to the gargoyle. So it's going, we got, what's that, Khrushchev over here? It's going through all the chain of command. They're afraid of the gargoyle. The gargoyle, the most feared man in all of Asia. Who is outside my door? Speak or face the wrath of the gargoyle. So he doesn't even want to open the door. He slips the message underneath, and look at this horrible freak. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. In America, there exists a creature called the Hulk whose power almost matches mine. Look at these twisted hands, We must fire a rocket. We're going to deal with this creature. So Igor is a commie, a dirty commie spy. Comics were always political. Yes. And then whenever they say comics were always political, I'm like, yeah, they hated the dirty communists. You forget that, if you want to get into that arena, then don't forget that comics always hated the dirty commies. They hated those collectivists. So now there's missiles being launched, they intercept the missile, but those cone lands, and what do we have? The gargoyle walks among the deserts of New Mexico. And here we got Rick and Banner, driving around. So what is he doing? He's driving out to the desert because he's afraid of, he's going to turn into the Hulk again. Remember, he only transformed once. Was it a bump? Was it only a once-time thing, or is it the new status quo? So he's not taking any risks. He's going to drive out to where if he transforms, he won't cause any problems. So he drives out, turns into the Hulk. Look out, you're not holding on to the wheel. Who cares about the wheel? Crashes, and look at this. He's just emergent, and definitely looks like Frankenstein over here with the purple jacket, blue pants. Now, I love this. I know this countryside. We're near General Ross' house. Betty lives here. Betty. He's like, wait, you can't let Betty see it. So he's going to check out Betty. Again, he's pure id. He's pure id. And then look at this. Look at that disgusting looking scrotum-esque chin. Just there's something about the gargoyle. He's just gross, And then we got Banner. Thunderbolt Ross just living in this nice house. Betty's over here, gorgeous, looking like, look, she looks like Elizabeth Taylor and Jackie Onassis just merged together into the perfect female. You just need some fresh air. So she walks out to the desert, and then boom. I love that. Look at this. Just look at this storytelling right here. Look at these 3 panels. Difference in the color. She's out there wandering. You don't even need to read. Just look at her body language. And then you could hear the cheesy symphony of music just rising to a crescendo. And then she turns around. But there is a Hulk, and don't you ever forget it. Fainted, bad, just like all the weak, helpless creatures. Let go of her. We've got to leave here. If you're found, shut up. Nobody tells the Hulk. And then what was he going to do? Was he going to abduct her? We don't know. We don't know. This is a creature who is, Banner even said it. He's obsessed with power. This is creepy. This is adult, not in puerile. And, it's funny because we call stuff adult today that really is puerile and less than adult, really. It's not sophisticated. But this is adult in the best sense of the word, and it's all ages. Walking the line. This is approved by the Comics Code Authority. It's really shows you how constraints are causing great artwork to be made. The skirting these rules that were made to keep the comic book safe. Think of the children. And then look at this creature. This did the gargoyle think of? Where's Betty? Where's Betty? She disappeared. I'd call this a gaffe. Betty should be on the ground right here. But did the gargoyle just save Betty from I don't know. Let's just say uncomfortability. Okay. Let's see. I want to address the comments. Where am I? Stan was really a heck of a writer. Yes. Let's address that right now since you brought it up, Shadowpunk. This was written in the Marvel method. Okay. I talk about the Marvel method a lot when I'm showcasing these old comics. The Marvel method was, again, I don't know if Jack came up with the plot seed or if Stan came up with the plot seed for this particular comic character, but let's just say Stan. Okay, so Stan goes, I got this idea, Jack. It's gonna be the Hulk. It's like a Jack the Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, there's a gamma bomb, and the gamma bomb goes off, and Dr. Banner goes out because there's a kid. This Rick Jones is out there, and he saves the kid, and then blah 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 blah. He either tells it or he writes it down. Sometimes he would joke and say it was an index card, and then Jack would go and draw. So like, this character, did Stan Lee make up that? Did Stan make up Betty? You know, and he tells this story, no dialogue. And then this could be a month later, this could be weeks later. Stan now has finished artwork with little things in the margins over here. And then Stan, the storytelling has to be so good that Stan could fill in the dialogue with no script. You know, so Stan Lee, yes, he wrote the comic. Jack Kirby literally wrote the comic, you know, too. 100% Stan Lee, 100%, well, I'll say 110% Jack Kirby. You know, there's, you know, the big debate who contributed more. I'm going to say both. You know, they were like the Beatles. You know, there was something about those four elements. You put those four elements together, you got the Beatles. But if you took, you know, all four of those elements, none of their solo work was as good as the Beatles. You know, same with Led Zeppelin. You know, to turn it into a music metaphor. So I hope that answers your question about Stan Lee being a heck of a writer. This is unique. This is the Marvel method where, you know, Stan would tell Jack Kirby or Gene Colan or Steve Ditko the whole story. They would go and draw it, and they would come back, and the storytelling, the artwork, the sequential art, you know, the continuity between panels, whatever you want to call it, it had to be so good that Stan would be able to then write the dialogue for the comic. You know, it worked. It forced the artists to become good storytellers. Whereas DC, it was full scripts. And that's why you could have comics that I thought weren't as good, like, say, Justice League #1, right? My phone is blowing up. Good thing I was smart enough to turn it off. I turned the sound. I knew The Witcher wasn't for me within the first 30 seconds of the first episode. Yeah, it just seems so insincere. We, as a species, have moved past sequential art. Not me. I guess I'm a Neanderthal. Unfortunately, the dirty comic, yeah, the gargoyle has won, ladies and gentlemen. Even conceptually, comic book heroes celebrate the individual. Yes. Again, my wife and I were talking about Western culture and the concept of the individual and the individualism. Just taking a sip. You know how that's a Western concept out of Greece, you know, and then moved throughout Western civilization, you know, and in the 60s, that was like such a high point of the rugged individual, if you ask me. And since then, it's been diluted. We're forgetting about the rugged individual. Nothing more immature than mature. Absolutely. At least when it comes to tell. Absolutely. I know way back when the Hulk was bigger and monstrous at the time, but still kind of normal size, not a gargantuan. Yes. Again, they didn't know what to do with the Hulk. Was he a monster? Was he walking the line between hero and villain? Yes. More reason why Jack is the king. Absolutely. So look at this. So now we got id over here. Here's super ego. Regular ego is consumed by this transformation. And then we got this monstrous enemy. So now Hulk over here, Hulk was on a path. We don't know. You know, is it more telling about me that I'm interpreting what the Hulk was up to? You know, would Polly Pureheart read this and say like, no, he was just going to go and try to woo? You know what I mean? That's what I love. The ambiguousness of what was being set up over here, the horror that was being set up over here tells, you know, you are filling in the gaps. You are filling in the details. It's brilliant. and we don't get to know because this walking scrotum, this testicle man over here, shows up, you know. And look, I mean, look at this thing. It to me, it's one of the most horrific characters ever created by Jack and Stan. And then he just shoots at the Hulk. He goes, "This weapon shoots a pellet of my own invention. The instant it strikes you, it'll sap you at will, making you a slave." He's like, Hulk is no man's slave. Hulk is no man's slave. And then boom, he shoots them. I don't know why, but oh, sorry, you can't see. I don't know why, but this panel always kind of freaked me out. Hulk is laying down here like reeling with this, and then Rick Jones just gets shot right in the chest. And look at it just looks painful. And now they are slaves. Now, look at this. Here we up until now, Hulk was doing what he wanted, you know, completely id. He's super ego over here, and now we got the communist over here. What is the first thing the communist does? It robs them of their free will. It robs them of individuality. You are now part of this collective, which is the will of the superior elite for the communists. Brilliant. Comics were always political. And what do? They forgot this super hot chick just laying over here on the ground. I saw the Hulk. He was terrifying. It came out of the darkness. Now, what did she think was going to happen? Is there any reason why, you know, because where did he go? It's horrible. I'll just, now, he always gets a bad rap, but just think about what just happened. You know, this is a good dad over here. Dad's protecting the daughter because it's just understood now that Hulk has a strange fascination with Betty. Yet, despite of everything, there's something sad about him, almost as if he was seeking help. He goes, "I'll find him. If it takes an eternity, I'll find that monster." And then faster, you know, he look at the blank stare at this guy, this communist over here. He's just coming in and destroying everybody's free will, making everybody slaves. You know, they get into the rocket, fly off, and now as the Earth rotates, the sun rays are turning him into Banner. So now, hours later, as the red ship glides into a landing on communist soil, the Gargoyle receives, "Ooh, I'm glad the effect of the gun wore off. What happened to the Hulk?" Any idea what he's talking about? No idea, Rick. You know, and I love that. Oh, you can't see. I love that. He's handing him the glasses. You know, as always, Rick it's a classic inversion. The teenager is taking care of the adult. And then this guy, "Doc, I know you. Oh no, you're the Hulk. It's unbelievable." So they throw him in jail. And then coming up is one of the most disgusting panels of all time. Look at this. You know, it's actually sad. But before I talk about this, let's look at the comments. Why did they call Bruce David in the TV series? Why? Because the executives in charge of the Hulk TV series thought the name Bruce was gay. Literally, they thought that it was gay. You know, that was like a name for gay characters, and they can't have any risk that anybody would associate their character with being a homosexual. So they changed it to David. That's literally the reason. I know they say it does, but that was literally the reason. I was joking about Control or poking fun of my. Oh, okay. I was a little confused. Yeah, I prefer more humanized Ross. Now, a lot of times he's just an unreasonable obstacle. Yes. Ross has he's doing the right thing. Hulk is a uncontrollable force of destruction. Even later on, when he becomes a full-on good guy, he's still a child. Like he's like a child with a temper tantrum, and Ross is the father figure. And then they just make him like insane, you know, unreasonable. You know, he becomes the jingoistic, super hyper patriot that is a bad guy. You know, because modern comic book writers are a bunch of spoiled children that, you know, there's 16 of them all living in an apartment and they don't have responsibilities. They don't have children. I mean, it's so weird. It is so weird that most comic book writers today are childless weirdos. You know, they don't have a sense of responsibility, you know, kids today. So here, you're the Hulk. He goes, why? Why would you want to be a monster? It's insane. It's a horrible thing in the world to be a freak like me. I'd give anything to be normal. So now we have this testicular cancer of a being on Earth, just he's becoming humanized. He's crying. I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm chauvinistic, but when I see like an adult male crying, I get this feeling of like revulsion, and you know what I mean. I just can't help but be like, oh man, you know, this is like an honest, painful, and I'm not heartless. So I kind of like, oh man, like for an adult male to cry in front of another adult male, it's like this is just pain, racking pain. Because I would help you, but I'm helpless. No, 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 you have to help me, Doc. We ain't gonna help that creep. Quiet. Remember, Banner is a good guy. Hulk at this point could go either way, just like Spider-Man in his first appearance. Spider-Man was on the path to villainy. I want to be fixed. I don't care. I want to die a man. So here they are. They're working on fixing the gargoyle. So they never tell you his origin, but they do imply that radiation, the experiments that he was working on mutated him. It's working. You did it. I'm a man. It's because of you. I became because of your secrets and those bomb tests. But it took an American to cure me. And now that I am no longer, I can defy you. So here you go. Comics where I'm not even showing the panel. So Banner works on it and cures the gargoyle of his hideous mutation. And what does he do? He rebukes communism. It took an American to cure me, and now that I'm no longer the gargoyle, I can defy you, and I will defy you like a man. So, of course, you know where that's leading. The Reds ain't going to have an individual standing up to the collective. There's bombs. He launches a rocket to send Banner and Rick back to the United States. And what does he do? I'm going to die like a man. He led all of these dirty commies into his office, hits the button, and boom. The gargoyle said its controls for America were on escape. It was saved by America's arch enemy. You did it. Listen to that. So boom, he detonated and took out a base because, he's now an individual who can make individual decisions, and he decided to die with dignity. And there we go. Here's the Hulk. And then we got, Hulk. Look at this. Look at this Herb Trimpe. So there you go. That's the first appearance of the Hulk. Let's address the comments. Something. Oh, okay. There are no new comments. I thought there was new comments. So there you go. What else you guys? Anything? Iron Man is not in this, right? I would like to do Iron Man, but I don't think Iron Man is in this. Maybe he's in Son of Origins. Yeah. The first appearance of Spider-Man. Yeah. So I don't have the first appearance of Iron Man. So I got to see the Doctor Strange. Yeah, there's no Iron Man in this. I think he's in Son of Origins, which I might have to pick up. Yep, no Iron Man. Okay. That was a pretty good issue. Yeah, it was an amazing issue. I really like the first 6 issues of the Hulk. I had like a little miniature condensed collection of the first 6 issues. The first 6 issues of the Hulk. If you could get that collected, it is outstanding. Outstanding. Oh, you didn't expect that twist with the gargoyle. He died a hero. Iron Man is in Son of Origins. Okay. I gotta check if I have that. I almost bought a new copy of this, and I was like, wait a minute, I got this. I found it was in a box that I haven't unpacked in decades. But I don't think I have Son of Origins. And then there's I'm just babbling now. So I will look to see if I have the Iron Man, because that is the next logical progression in this series. I want to go and look, see any DC first appearances of DC. I really like that Doom Patrol. Any questions? Any comments? Anything anybody want to say? I really like look at this John Buscema artwork that's painted over. This is like the Gene Colan Doctor Strange, as opposed to the Ditko. This is definitely the John Buscema. And then look at all this. That's the John Romita Spider-Man paint as done by what does my coffee cup say? It says some serious gourmet shit. This is some serious gourmet shit. Michael, good to see you, Michael. So there you go. Stan and Jack really couldn't really nail down the Hulk in the first 6 issues. Yes, that was the point I was trying to make. Thank you for helping me focus, Marcus. The Hulk, he so this issue, the Hulk's trigger is nighttime. The sun causes him to transform. In this, I think it's also the second issue. It's night and day. But then by the third issue, the Hulk is a. I think the third issue Steve Ditko took over, and the Hulk is more sinister, but he's also intelligent. He's inventing stuff. He's making machines, and he invents a machine that allows the Hulk to transfer when the Hulk wants to. So Banner stands in front of a gamma projector. It looks like a gigantic mortar, artillery mortar, and it fires rays at the Hulk, and the Hulk transforms. So he could transform at will, aided by this machinery that they worked on together. So Hulk, it controls the transformation, and now he is like, I don't want to say anti-hero, but he's a sinister, angry, mean hero. He's doing heroic things. And then the angry transformation of the Hulk doesn't happen until the Tales to Astonish series. I got to look up what issue is when the Hulk. So for 2 issues of the 6-issue run, he's triggered by daylight. Then he's triggered by standing in front of the machine, and the machine is slowly losing its ability to control the transformation. And then we get the Hulk triggered by the emotions, which seems to be the way it's stuck. It seems to be that stuck. That seemed to resonate with the readers really well. He became a creature of anger and rage and uncontrollability, which became his rallying point, his reason for existence, or whatever motif for years to come. And then there was a slight point where he could just control the transformation and kind of like pick whether or not so Mr. Fix-It, for those of you who don't know, is the Gray Hulk. So he transformed and he turned into the Gray Hulk because of whatever the state of his mind, and he had the persona that he had here, which is kind of villainous, and he would dress up and he stayed Mr. Fix-It because he didn't want to transform back into Bruce Banner, and that would end basically kill him, from the point of view of the Gray Hulk, and he became like a mob enforcer, borderline bad guy, So they played during the Peter David years, and Peter David wrote the Hulk for 12 years. They played up all of these different personas that the Hulk had. I remember at the time not liking it, but now as I'm looking back, I kind of do like it. Uh, uh, oh, a lot of comments. I was lost in my own thought for a second. Rick Jones gained control. The Hulk can make him do stuff. Yes, again, Rick Jones is the super ego. He's the conscience. He's the Jiminy Cricket that keeps this savage, sinister creature under control. As an artist, Jack Kirby is my favorite alt. His ability to draw people we could sit. Yes, that one panel of the gargoyle cringing and emotional, pain. Even as a kid, I went from despising that walking testicle to feeling bad for him. Don't make me angry. I will not make you angry. What Geeks Do Network? Why would I make you angry? I don't want to make anybody. He has villainous qualities, but on the good side, primarily because of Rick Jones. Yes. Now, if Rick Jones wasn't there, would Hulk be different? Would Hulk be a full-on monster? If Hulk, if the gargoyle didn't show up, what would have happened to Betty? These are questions, that are, these would make excellent what ifs. What if Rick, if Rick Jones wasn't there, then the Hulk never would have came to be. And there is a great what if. What if Rick Jones became the Hulk? But what if when the Hulk threw Rick Jones, he killed him? What if he threw Rick Jones across the table and Rick Jones hit his head against the radiator and knocked him out and killed him? Would the Hulk have then become a villain? That's a good thing, and that's to me is the best part of when What If explores stuff like that. Tales to Astonish 60 is the first Hulk issue. He replaced Giant Man. That's right. It was Ant-Man. It was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Giant Man. Yeah, I forgot about that. My introduction to Hulk was the Bill Bixby version. Yeah, I loved that show. I used to love that show. At first, Hulk would change to Banner when he got too excited, but that was inconvenient. Oh, that's yeah. So if the Hulk, yeah, I always thought I always thought it was funny when you see pictures of the Hulk sleeping, and he's still the Hulk. Like once he calmed down and slept, the adrenaline should wear off, and he should turn into Banner. You know, but what do I know? I'm just a guy. I dig the Peter David run was fun. Yes, it's 12 years, and then he was unceremoniously fired. Peter David still pissed off at it. When was it that the Hulk and Banner split? And the Hulk that was during the John Byrne run. Uh, John Byrne did that. He did some magic science, and that's the only way to describe it. Magic science that he split Banner and the Hulk became a full-on villain. Hulk became just a mindless monster. He became just a creature, and they had to get united again to show that Banner had some sort of control over the Hulk. Uh, even when that came out, I found it like too unbelievable for me. But a great art. And then that was at the full-on John Byrne diva days. He quit. I think it only lasted like 12 issues. He quit because of disputes with the editor, you know. And it was interesting because when he did that, Banner was walking with arm braces, arm stilts, because Hulk separating himself, he became too weak, and the Hulk became mindless, and then they had to rejoin it. They should have just had a wizard come and do it, because doing it by science, that's just one of my pet peeves. That's why I say magic science, because there's really no, like, the bomb transforming the Hulk. Yes, it in real life he would just develop cancer and die. Spider-Man would just develop cancer and die. Fantastic Four would just develop cancer and die. So we have a modicum of suspension of disbelief, but there comes a point when the suspension of disbelief becomes too stretched and everything breaks. And to me, that John Byrne separating the Hulk, it was, to me, it's better forgotten. Uh, I just don't like it. The end of David's Hulk really dropped off. He was working through his divorce and killing Betty. Really, really. I'm way behind on the Hulk. Way behind. I stopped reading the Hulk somewhere in the David run, not because I didn't like it, because of poverty. I've since bought all the issues, and then I restarted the Hulk when Bruce Jones started writing, and I hated that series. It was almost like he was writing a different character. It didn't fit in with the established continuity, but that's what Marvel was doing in the early 2000s. Was like they just didn't care about continuity, and that's, to me, that it just got me to stop reading Marvel altogether. I just felt like they were being disrespectful. But this sounds awful. I definitely consider Bird a legend in comics, which is, yeah, absolutely. Didn't mean to spoil. Yeah, you spoiled a 35-year-old comic. No big deal. No big deal. All right. And anybody, Bueller? Anybody got any more comments? Going for it out. But this. Thank you guys. This was engaging. I forgot how good Hulk #1. What, it's been a long time since I checked it out. Now, the only thing that bothers me is he's supposed to be gray. Hulk is supposed to be gray in these issues, because again, I don't know if he was. I forget, Marcus. Was he supposed to be gray and they just turned it green because the printing made it look bad, or was he supposed to be gray and the green and it came out gray because of whatever? I forget what he even said already. It's too early. I stayed up till 4 a.m, went to sleep, and then the time changed. So I'm a zombie. I will need some more of this serious gourmet shit. So there we go. That's Hulk #1. I will see if I have Iron Man. If I don't have Iron Man, I will look for something DC to do. I'm really enjoying this. This is my favorite thing that I do on my channel. You know, as much as I love talking to Jim Shooter, this is like the undistilled essence of what I envisioned when I did when I created my YouTube channel. I remember sitting in Pete and Allison's kitchen. They were the first people that I talked about doing this. And I said, you know, I wanted to just open up a comic book and show it off page by page, talk about my thoughts, talk about, you know, what I was doing as a kid when I read this and where I got it, and just talk. And then like people respond and, you know, have a conversation with people. And it took me a while till I got to that point. And this is it. This is exactly what I wanted. So thank you. Naps are allowed on daylight savings day. Yes, yes. Well, I've been taking a lot of naps lately. So let's see what's going on this week with John's Long Box. For some reason, people have been ordering my pint glasses. So thank you. I do. Oh, I don't have one here. It's upstairs getting cleaned. So I have pint glasses for Heroic Tales. Pete and Allison, how's your pint glasses? You guys drinking? Haldir bought one. They're $20. They're really $10, but I got to charge you $10 to ship them. You know, so if my friend Paul bought one, I put it in his hand. It was $10. But you know, if I have to mail it to you, it's $20. For some reason, they've been selling a lot lately. I think the Jim Shooter interview really put me on the radar with a lot of people. My comic book, I'm working with Nick X. Nick X is doing all the graphic design and building the campaign page. Matter of fact, last night we were talking about like some fine details of as far as the campaign. So it is launching soon. I still don't want to give a date. The thing that was holding us back was Pat Broderick's variant artwork. So I ran out to get. Oh yeah, thank you. Mike, Haldir or Marcus, could you put up the link for the for my pint glass? It's not a mug; it's a pint glass, a beer pint glass. I want to make one for every character if I can. You know, that would be fun. Oh, thank you, Marcus. Well done. So you're on point with the app. Yeah, Marcus is by Rick Jones. He's keeping me from becoming a monster. Okay, so focus. What's going on this week? Nothing tomorrow, so I'll put up a regular video tomorrow. Mondays I have game nights with friends. Tuesday I have Pale Rider, Glory Calcutta. Wednesday I have who do I have Wednesday? I forget Wednesday, but I have Mike Barron and RJ and myself doing comic book team up, and I forget who is my guest on Wednesday. I forget. I'm terrible. I'm just all messed up from the time change. I'm looking at my calendar. Who is Wednesday? Oh, Adam Miller. Adam Miller, who's just launched Iron Age cards. He, you know, his link will be there, but he just did a card set for all of like these independent comic characters. I'm really excited about that. And then nothing for the rest of the week. Thursday, I'm going to the hospital for hernia surgery, so I didn't schedule anything for the rest of the week. So Wednesday will be my last show for the week. Give me a couple of days to recover. I don't know how I'll feel, so we'll play it by ear. If you could understand where I'm coming from, I have a hernia that's just been getting worse and worse and worse. That's one of the reasons why the reason why I stopped doing my long box videos, because it's just getting harder and harder to carry these heavy comic book boxes. So yeah, so Thursday I will go into the hospital for surgery, and you know, this is pretty much my first announcement. Tonic Mole, my buddy Tonic Mole, who does the comic Saving the World, his comic issue 11 is launching Thursday, and he asked if I would host a launch party for him, and I feel so bad, but I don't know if I will be well enough to launch. So he understands, you know. So we tentatively have plans to do a launch party on Friday. The doctor says it should be a couple of hours. I'll be going home and he says you'll be fine. So I think I could sit and talk. If that's the case, Thursday I will do a launch party for Tonic Mold's comic Saving the World. And if I can't, I will do it Friday. So I plan on doing a Sunday comics. And I'm supposed to go back to work that Monday, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I might have to take another week. So there you go. There's my plans. The most exciting news that I got to report is the 26th. I will have Mark Allred on my channel, another comic book superstar. I got to remind him. It's been a while since we talked, so I hope he doesn't forget. Okay, so this is the link to get my Heroic Tales pint glass. The comic book will be launching soon. This is my Substack, so you can get news. Keep your. I don't spam you. I use it exactly what it's for, to just keep you up to date. There's 3 ways to find out information about my comic book as of right now: Substack, my channel, and the community notes on my channel, and Twitter. So I guess 4 ways. Twitter, it's so silly, but my John's Longbox Twitter got nuked. So it's Marcus, if you could put my Twitter handle in there, Zentorian2000@yahoo.com. That's follow me on Twitter, and that'll keep you abreast of everything that's going on. My comic, I'm really excited. Pat Broderick is, in his 80s. His brother died. He was in the hospital a couple of times. So it took him a lot longer than we had planned for him to do my variant cover. And I started to get nervous. So I went to Michael T. Gilbert of Mr. Monster fame, and he also did a cover. So I'm ahead of schedule for my second variant cover. And what I plan to do is I'm going to go to Fund My Comic, do a 60-day exclusive campaign. When that closes, start printing and shipping, do it. And then I'm going to go to Kickstarter, and that will have a variant cover exclusive only to Kickstarter. And then I'm going to go to Indiegogo, and I want to have a variant cover exclusive to Indiegogo. I do not know. So far, nobody's taken the bite of who wants to draw that cover. So that's my plan. And when each one closes, I'd like to print them and ship out. Renzo is on page 17 of 22, but I already told my backup to start working. I think we'll hit the stretch goal. So so it'll go as fast as possible. I'm already adding a couple of pages to the main story. I'll talk about that when the campaign page is launched. Now I'm rambling. This is my Twitter, X. Oh, both of it. And let's see. Oh, Lolly. Good luck on the surgery. Thank you. Yeah, this is the first time I'm telling everybody. Obviously my wife knows. She's taken off on Thursday. She's got to drive me to the hospital. It's something I've been putting off for way too long. It was supposed to be done by now, but geez, timing changes. So I might, whatever. I'll keep you abreast of the situation. So thanks a lot, everybody. The next live is Tuesday with what I'm forgetting already. My next live is Tuesday, and that is with Path of the Pale Rider. That's Lori Calcutta. Did I get the hernia from construction? Probably. It just showed up. It showed up years ago in my belly, and I just ignored it. It looked like I had an Audi belly button, and now it looks like the alien from the first Alien movie is about to burst out of my stomach. I have a constant dull pain, and if I push it, oh my God, it hurts. So I you know what I mean? So I can't avoid it anymore, and it's getting really big. It looks like I'm about to give birth through my belly button. I had a hernia that had to get rushed to the. See, that's what I'm pics. Nobody wants to see pic. You want to pic? Here's what my hernia looks like. Okay, here's what it looks like right there. That thing is coming out of my stomach. Okay, that's what it looks like. This is coming out of my belly right now. There you go, right there. Maybe it is a tumor. It is not a tumor. Yeah, yeah, just kidding. I don't know. I'm not one of these. Whenever I'm sick, whenever I told my wife, you got to drive. Well, I'll drive myself to the hospital. She's got to drive me home. I said, then go to the movies and get out because she knows when I'm sick or I'm not feeling good. Just let me be grumpy and angry by myself. The only thing I'm concerned about is, the anesthesia. I might be out of it for a while. Yeah, putting off going to a doctor until it's too much. Yes, that's be a man. You ever see those guys? Be a man. Never go to the doctor. Die on the job. Be a man. But thanks a lot, everybody. I'm gonna go. My empty coffee cup is calling me. I need to refill this. All right. So see you guys. Bye bye.